Now at 5, local health officials announced COVID numbers from the Thanksgiving holiday.
President Biden pushes for his social spending bill by focusing on lowering the cost of prescription drugs. I'm Natalie Brand with some details of what's in the bill, plus where negotiations stand on Capitol Hill.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We're getting a look at COVID numbers following the Thanksgiving holiday. This is KOIM News at 5. KOIM's Chris Warner joins us in the studio with more.
Local health officials say they were anticipating an increase in cases following Thanksgiving weekend, and that's exactly what they saw. Now, Joplin saw slight increases in cases following the Thanksgiving, with the biggest increase coming on the 29th. Newton County also saw increases. Prior to the holiday, they only had 9 new cases, but then saw an increase of about 19 on the Monday following the holiday. Now, something to point out is there was a corresponding spike in PCR COVID tests on the Monday following the long weekend. In fact, PCR tests in Newton County alone jumped from 44 on Sunday the 28th to 112 on the 29th. Newton County Health Department Administrator Larry Bergner says he attributes that to people being smart and doing the right thing after being out with large groups.
I think as people enjoyed the holiday, Thanksgiving holiday, and now come back to going to work and their normal routine, if they start feeling a little bit ill, they're more apt to go get tested. And we do see also when we get a spike in our daily cases, I do notice a trend that we'll see also a spike in our testing numbers.
Now, despite the increase in cases locally, Bergner says there's a flip side to that coin, and tonight at 6, we'll hear more on how this year's holiday numbers compared to last year's.
All right, we'll see you at 6, Chris. Thanks. The USDA today announced grants to improve the energy infrastructure in 26 Kansas towns and counties. Hicks Corporation in Pittsburgh, which manufactures printing equipment and supplies, received more than $30,000 to buy and install an air compressor, HVAC, and LED lighting. Also, Nice Products in Fort Scott, a well drilling contractor, received $29,000 to buy and install a ventilation and heating system and energy efficient lighting. Checking in with Doug Hetty now for our first look at the weather.
Hey, Dow, after a cold front yesterday evening, some showers and thunderstorms along and south of Interstate 44, turning much colder for us today. Temperatures struggling just to get up into the mid 40s for afternoon highs. We've had quite a bit of sunshine, but we are going to get some clouds increasing as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. We have a very quick moving wave, which is going to shoot across the northern plains, but it will give us some clouds, maybe a few sprinkles or even a few flurries by late in the daytime hours tomorrow. The temperature is cooling down. We're sitting mainly into the mid to upper 30s. Right now, we've had this kind of northerly wind, which makes it feel a little bit cooler than what it actually is. So we have wind chill factors sitting into lower 30s. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 30s, down into the 20s tonight. So it's going to be cold. Of course, we're going to look at the entire work week here in just a bit.
See you then. Thanks, Doug. The body of the late Senator Bob Dole of Kansas will lie in state in the U.S. Capitol on Thursday. Dole died yesterday at the age of 98. The former Republican presidential candidate and World War II veteran who served in Congress for 36 years shaped tax and foreign policy and worked vigorously to help the disabled, enshrining protections against discrimination in employment, education, and public services in the Americans with Disabilities Act. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has ordered flags flown throughout the state at half-staff through sunset Thursday in honor of Dole. The Biden administration announced a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Beijing Olympics. No diplomatic representatives will be going as a statement against Chinese human rights abuses. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the administration was sending a clear message that the human rights abuses mean there cannot be business as usual. She says the White House did not feel it was fair to penalize U.S. athletes by holding an entire U.S. boycott of the Olympics. President Biden wants to get a key component of his domestic agenda over the finish line before the holidays. The president told Americans today they'll reap the benefits of his $1.75 trillion Build Back Better plan with lower prescription drug costs, an issue that's eluded both parties for years. Reporter Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Biden is pitching his Build Back Better bill straight to Americans' wallets and medicine cabinets, saying the plan will lower the costs of prescription drugs.
Everyone has less money in their pockets because high drug costs make health insurance more expensive for everyone.
The Democratic proposal would allow Medicare to negotiate prices for certain drugs, impose a penalty if companies increase prices faster than inflation, cap costs for seniors and those with disabilities, and lower the cost of insulin to $35 a month. That would help diabetics like Aisha Meza.
There came a time where I could no longer afford my insulin. I was forced to ration my supply of drug that is as vital to me as water.
The president's $1.75 trillion social spending package, which has passed the House, also includes money for universal pre-K and new funding to fight climate change. But not all provisions may survive the Senate, where the legislation needs every single Democratic vote in order to pass. The White House has said President Biden does not expect to get everything he wants and is focused on compromise. Progressive Senator Bernie Sanders, whose budget chair, has pushed to expand the bill.
We've got to demand that the wealthy stop paying their fair share of taxes.
While more moderate holdouts, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, have consistently fought to curb the cost and scale of the legislation.
The country's awash in federal dollars.
The president obviously wants to get his Build Back Better agenda done as soon as possible.
The timeline for agreement is ambitious, with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer aiming to pass the bill before Christmas. Natalie Brent, CBS News, the White House.
The Majority Leader warned colleagues there are more long days and nights ahead this month as the holidays loom, while lawmakers tackle other priorities like voting rights and the debt limit. Ohio-based Christian Aid Ministries says the 3 additional hostages released yesterday are safe and seem to be in good spirits. This news follows 2 other hostages being released last month. 12 others are still being held by a violent gang in Haiti. The group of Christian missionaries was kidnapped at gunpoint in October. The FBI has been involved in negotiations, and the State Department has also been in contact with senior Haitian authorities. At least 22 people are dead. 27 others are missing after a volcanic eruption in Indonesia over the weekend. Mount Semeru blanketed villages and nearby towns with tons of volcanic debris. Search and rescue operations have faced challenges over the past 3 days, including the risk of pyroclastic flows that many areas remain hot and after being covered by lava, making movements very risky. Up next in Healthwatch, the importance of the flu vaccine.
Flu season is back, but a new survey shows many people aren't getting the flu shot. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the real concerns for those with chronic health conditions.
And later, new COVID-19 restrictions take effect today for travelers entering the U.S. Topping today's Health Watch, the pandemic has likely delayed cancer diagnoses in the U.S., and that could lead to worse outcomes for patients. A study in a journal of the American Cancer Society tracked millions of U.S. veterans. It found the number of colonoscopies decreased by 45% in 2020, and screenings for prostate cancer dropped by 29%. A new survey shows some of the most vulnerable people to severe flu illness are not protecting themselves. Reporter Bradley Blackburn has more on why getting the flu vaccine is critical for patients with certain chronic health conditions.
Carrie Sparling has been living with type 1 diabetes since she was 7 years old.
I don't know what it's like to live without type 1 diabetes. I've had it for such a long time that it's been sort of tied to everything that I've done, for better or for worse.
And that's why she gets a flu shot every year.
It's another one of those things that I can do to proactively take good care of myself. Having the flu and also having diabetes can add this really nasty extra layer of issues that I would have to deal with.
The flu vaccine is especially important for people with chronic health conditions, including diabetes, heart disease, and lung disease. But in a new survey from the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, just 45% of adult patients say they've been vaccinated.
It's very concerning because that's exactly the group that's highest risk of the complications of influenza, particularly pneumonia.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. William Schaffner points out during recent flu seasons, 9 out of 10 people hospitalized with flu had at least one underlying health condition.
There were relatively few flu cases last season because of all the pandemic precautions, but this year the flu is back. Some large outbreaks have already been reported.
There was so little flu last year, and vaccination didn't reach the usual levels. There's concern that many of us may have built up some susceptibility to flu. All the more important to get vaccinated.
Though flu shot effectiveness varies each season, public health experts say it prevents millions of infections and can reduce the severity of illness if you do get sick. That's why they want everyone 6 months and older to get vaccinated. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Survey found that patients are more likely to get vaccinated if a healthcare provider recommends it. The number of children in the U.S. without adequate health insurance is on the rise. The study in pediatrics found nearly a third of youngsters were underinsured during the period between 2016 and 2019. That's an increase of nearly 2.5 million kids. The study partly blamed higher out-of-pocket expenses for health services. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, Honda recalls hundreds of thousands of vehicles because of safety concerns with the hood.
Plus, got cold outside. How long are the cold temperatures going to stick around? We're going to check that out coming up. Well, it turned out to be a much colder day for us today. Temperatures behind a cold front last night. We got some thunderstorms with them, some strong storms along and south of Interstate 44. And then behind that front, the winds really picked up and it really cooled down for us during the daytime hours today as we only got up into lower 40s for highs. We're sitting into the 30s now, 36 in Nevada, 37 in Anderson. Oklahoma, we have Miami at 39, Pittsburgh is sitting at 36 degrees, 37 in Chanute, and everybody's really going to cool down once again as we go through the overnight hours. Kind of brisk, northerly winds all day long. They've diminished a little bit, kind of out of the north at about 5 to 10, but that, of course, made it feel a little bit colder than what it actually was. Looking north, 7th and range line. Currently sitting at 37. We do have some upper level clouds, which are going to start to roll in. North winds at 7, humidity is low at about 42%, and through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 30s into the 20s. I think most of us go mid-20s later on tonight. So it is going to be a cold night across the region. We do have some thin little clouds which have been increasing. We have a very weak wave out across the northern parts of the Rockies, and this wave is going to slide across the northern plains as we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. What it will do for us, it will give some clouds, maybe a couple sprinkles, maybe a few flurries tomorrow evening, and that is just about it. But again, you can see the jet stream right out of Montana and the northern parts of Missouri, so that's where this weak wave is going to go. It's not going to affect us much as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. For us tonight, mid-20s, a lot of clouds pushing through the region. I think we'll get mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. We are going to get a southerly wind back. This is going to help our temperatures just a little bit as we go into the upper 40s during the afternoon. So a little bit warmer than what we did see today. 27 to start, 43 by noon, high temp of 47, a lot of clouds, and again, we can't rule out a random sprinkle or a couple little flakes flying, especially in southwestern parts of Missouri. Tomorrow night, clouds kind of stick around, but we do start to clear out late tomorrow night. Still going to be cold, dropping back near 30, and then by Wednesday, we get back into the 50s for highs. So Wednesday is shaping up pretty good. We continue to warm up. Even by Thursday, this is ahead of our next little wave, which is out, well, it's not even on the west coast yet, but this storm system by the weekend. So ahead of it, we're going to go near 70 by Thursday, and we should go into the 70s on Friday. This system kind of develops as it passes through, so the better chances for rain on Friday are going to stay to the east of us, but as the cold front rolls in, we may get a few random showers late Friday, and then again we turn sharply colder as we head into the weekend. Temperatures kind of very similar to what we are seeing today. So kind of up and down all week. 47 tomorrow, 58 Wednesday, 69 Thursday, 74 on Friday. So we'll be near record highs once again by Friday with that cold front that sinks in, then we cool right back down as we head into the weekend.
Christmas parade in Joplin tomorrow. It's going to be chilly.
It will be chilly. Could be worse.
And it has been.
Yes, it has.
As we both know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug. Our annual Toy Box campaign is underway. Each year, we ask for donations of toys or money to buy toys to give to area kids in need. All of your donations can stay in the county where you live, if you prefer. You can find a list of toy drop-off locations on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Or you can make a monetary donation by phone during our Toy Box Tuesday telethons. The next one is going to be tomorrow on our noon, 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. news. Coming up, new travel restrictions take effect in the U.S. today. But first, we honor a local veteran. Arthur West served in the U.S. Army from 1940 to 1945. The Moran, Kansas native was stationed in Europe in the 997th Field Artillery Battalion. He received an American Defense Service Ribbon and a Good Conduct Medal. And we salute Arthur West, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Honda is recalling 725,000 vehicles in the U.S. over concerns that the hood could pop open while driving. Yeah, that would be a problem. Vehicles that fall under the recall are 2019 Honda Passports, 2016 through 2019 Honda Pilots, and Ridgeline trucks from the 2017 through 2020 model years. Owners can take their vehicles to a dealer to have the affected part replaced or the entire hood replaced. Strict new COVID-19 testing rules for travelers coming into the United States took effect today. The CDC says the move is aimed at mitigating the potential spread of the Omicron variant, which is also posing a possible threat to the U.S. economic recovery. Reporter Jen Sullivan has a look at the impact this latest round of rules may ultimately have on the travel industry.
Stricter testing rules now in effect. All travelers, including U.S. citizens coming into the U.S., are now required to test negative for coronavirus 1 day before their departure.
This is not the first month we've ever dealt with this, so we're ready, we're armed.
Captain Dennis Tager from the Allied Pilots Association says the airline industry supports the move. The CDC's new testing rule is regardless of vaccination status. It's aimed at curbing the potential threat posed by the Omicron variant.
Making sure that that test is as close to travel date as possible will help catch more infections before they come to the U.S.
This comes as the travel industry was beginning to catch a break and look forward to a robust holiday travel season, leading some industry leaders to worry the move may lower consumer confidence and reduce travel.
They may have seen some advanced bookings fall off. I would expect that's just natural behavior.
While praising the move, health experts acknowledge that testing may be an added burden for travelers.
The downside is it's going to get harder for travelers to always be able to find a high-quality PCR that they can get a result from within a day.
Meanwhile, Captain Tager says in order for economic recovery to get back on track, the airline industry can't have any scheduling meltdowns after severe weather events.
It shakes the confidence and it rattles the recovery. We're going to make sure that we do all that we can to make it work.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Any foreign nationals who travel to the U.S. must be fully vaccinated, but there are no vaccine requirements for American citizens. Last Monday, the U.S. banned all travel from South Africa and 7 neighboring nations. Target is officially in the holiday spirit by extending store hours. The retailer said most locations will be open from 7 a.m. to midnight from now until December 23rd. Target says it'll be open on Christmas Eve, but will close at 8 p.m. and the chain will be closed on Christmas Day. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the latest research into the Omicron variant. Then on KOAM News at 6. We're going to have more on holiday COVID numbers in area counties. Plus, the Polar Bear Express derails at a stop in the 4 states. And an MSSU course takes students on a deep dive into historical events. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Doug Heddy, it's kind of chilly out there.
It is. It's going to be a cold evening as we're dropping back through the 30s right now and then eventually mid-20s once again for us later on tonight. Chilly again tomorrow. A lot of clouds. Could even get a random sprinkle or a few flurries late in the day. High temp of 47. Then we start to warm things back up near 60 on Wednesday, near 70 on Thursday into the 70s. by Friday.
Something for everyone in
Yeah.
that forecast. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.